2. Oh, now we're live.
No. Hey.
Oh, and look who this here, Cousin Shay. But hey, before we get to that, welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast brought to you by Twisted Tea and My Bookie. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. Go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And we got Cousin Shane showed up this time. Big orange balls. What's up, brother?
Hey, babe, what's going on?
Oh, well, good news, bad news, Shane. And apologies for starting late. We don't have anybody in here, so I don't know if they can hear us. I don't know if they can see us, but I'm pretty sure they can.
Yeah.
But it says we got one viewer, and I think it's me.
It was like back in the day, Mike, you know? Just your family's calling in.
Yeah.
You guys did really good, you know?
Yeah. So how was work? Let's start with that.
Well, work's work, man. You know, you got it. It is what it is. You guys know this. Once followers been here long enough, we do a good job kind of navigating around that schedule, and there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
One day we'll be able to do this exclusively, and I think we're getting closer and closer every day. But for time being, yeah, got to pay for this light over here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, that's one thing we didn't really. I mean, we kind of thought about it, but not really. It's like live show. You set a date, you set a time,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh yeah, shit happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's not just this. It's like my daughter plays softball, you
Yeah.
know, and so we're gonna have a couple of pick shows that are gonna be. Sundays usually aren't so bad, but I say that we've had them
Two in a row.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it is a problem. Maybe I'm the problem, Mike. You know? But enough about me, Mike. They're not tuning in to talk about Shane's work schedule. They want to know where the mayonnaise is. They want to know about
Yeah.
them volunteers. They want to know about them Ole Miss Rebels. They want to know about Texas A&M. You know, it was a fantastic Kentucky. Come on now, where you at? So it was a wild. I'm telling you. I think I say this every Saturday, Mike, but I truly think that this was the best weekend so far. Now, to be fair, half the fan bases are on the opposite end of that. But as far as content, man, we had some great games Saturday.
yeah, so I don't even know where to begin, Shane.
Jeez.
But I'm gonna start just because you and I sat here and watched it together, brother. I have to go with that one. Tennessee beats South Carolina 41-20. I mean, for me, this is kind of what I was expecting, Shane. Rushing attack, that was epic for the Vols. 244 rushing yards. Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, Dylan Sampson, they all scored on the ground.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. But shout out the defense, Shane.
Yeah.
6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 1 pick six. And Kamal Haddon, who's hey, he's been a fan, you know, what's the opposite of favorite? I don't even want to say, but I'm giving him Defensive Player of the Week,
Come on,
buddy,
now.
because I think he's earned it for all the shit he's taken, and some
Yeah.
of it warranted, I guess. But hey, you make a pick six that gave Tennessee a 2-score game, and even though the Gamecocks, they never quit, credit them, they never quit. But after that pick six, to me, it felt like the Gamecocks were never going to win that game. How about you?
Yeah, honestly, when this spread first came out, I was kind of surprised. I was thinking this is going to be a tight game. Obviously, the nega Vol in me even thought the Gamecocks could win this thing. You know, just the way that Spencer's been playing, and
Hey, hold up a second, Richard.
yeah,
He says, nice way to start the pod talking about Tennessee's Super Bowl. Sorry.
Listen, I will say this, man. I was ready to just sing Spencer's praises. I was ready to spring, you know, to kind of shed some light on positivity on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
But then he comes out with them dumbass comments, you know, and that one just it got me. It got me. Sorry, he got me. He got a little childish there at the end.
Well, let me say this, Shane, because I like to troll. I
Yeah.
like to have fun with it. This is fun to me, Shane. All these, tweets I send out, and yeah, it may piss off one fan base, but the
Yeah.
other 13 or 15 now are laughing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to aim. I needle, hell, you can talk to Vols. I needle the shit out
Yeah.
of Tennessee. I needle everybody. But that being said, with all the kind of jokes I had and stuff, I mean, he's got no help. Spencer does. He's running for his life. 6 sacks. They could have had
Dude,
12 sacks.
Exactly.
He's got no one to throw it to except for Leggett. They basically just shut him down.
One run is all they had.
No running attack.
Yep.
Yeah, one run. I mean, hell, Shane, it's not even a joke to say they got one quarterback playing running back. They got another quarterback playing receiver. And it's and no disrespect to Luke Doty and DeCarrion Jr. because that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But they didn't move those guys because they're all world.
Yeah.
They moved them because they don't have help.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that goes before the offensive line, a new offensive coordinator. So I still think Spencer Rattler's a damn warrior.
Absolutely. And again, I'm giving him a hard time just because the comments, but you know what I'm saying? This was an electric environment. These Vol fans were extremely hungry. So were South Carolina fans.
Yeah.
Gamecocks were expecting to come in there and whoop some ass. And, you know, there was moments in this game you're like, uh-oh, here we go. Tennessee's going to blow it again, you know. That's what I kept feeling like was going to happen. And just kudos for this defense. Just, man, I'm telling you what. It wasn't just one guy. It was the entire unit was just constant pressure back there on Spencer.
Yeah.
The secondary was a blanket. And yeah, did Spencer have any help? No, he didn't. He didn't have any help with his offensive line. He didn't have any help with his receivers. It's like as soon as you remove Leggett, it was over. You know what I'm saying? They had no other option. I thought Trey would be, that guy. I thought, somebody else would emerge. Even Doty earlier this season had some love out there, but they just didn't have anything. And I don't want to just put it on just like the players, the coaching staff. They never had it. It seemed like they had no answer for this pressure. You thought we'd see more screens. You thought we'd see more. And I get it. South Carolina probably doesn't want to ever see a screen again. But
yeah.
But against this relentless pressure that Tennessee was damned and determined to bring, you thought, hey, they're going to play. They're going to dial something up here in a minute to and get behind that wall. But they never did.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad when you throw out the fake punt and then you still you get nothing out of it. You know what I mean? Like that's a momentum play. That's you pull that out when things aren't working, and hey, they pulled it off. They got
me and you, man.
that was Leggett's biggest play of the day was a damn fake punt.
Absolutely, man, and keeping them on the field, we had to burn a timeout. The momentum. There was opportunities in this game for South Carolina to get back in it and take the crowd out of it, but they just never capitalized on any of it. And like I said, Spencer, I joked Spencer rattled, which. How could you not, man? How could you not if it's coming at you 150 miles an hour? So South Carolina's in trouble, brother. There's no sugarcoating it. It's just like the recipe got out there. And it was other teams that helped Tennessee win this ball game. Other teams that are discovering how South Carolina's work. So they're gonna have to get back into the playbook, man, and they're gonna have to dial something different because what they did Saturday. It's either you're at a fork in the road. Yeah. Which path are you going to take here?
The game, Shane, I think won here. Tennessee 7 of 15 on third down.
Yeah.
South Carolina only 2 of 14. So they were getting stifled. But let me ask you this, Joe Milton, are you back on the bandwagon because after this big win, or I don't know how much of that you caught earlier when I did the part 1 of the show a couple hours ago, but. It just seems a little off with him, and I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't really have a way to really describe it, but it just seems kind of like labored, like it's difficult for him to have these intermediate like we're surprised when he's hitting a slant.
Yeah,
like those should be the easiest passes to hit in the damn world, but maybe his skill set is I don't know. And again, I think he gets criticized too much. They won the damn game; it was a convincing fashion, but we got some people on here saying, well, after I saw that. I think we beat Bama. I think we beat Georgia. I think we beat A&M. Are you willing to go quite that far after this performance?
No, I'm not. And obviously losing Brew McCoy, was a big one. He was a kind of a security blanket for Joe. And you saw some of those intermediate throws when he did have them. Even was it Palmer that was doing this one, or no? Who was I don't know who was commentating, but. they made some good points. Like, look at the speed.
Jordan Rodgers.
Yeah,
I think.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the velocity of some of these footballs that are coming out. And, it's easy for us to criticize the receivers for having those drops, but maybe when you really watch the replay, I mean, it's being brought like a missile. And, yeah, I think that is good if you're going sideline to sideline, but when you're doing these slants and you got these guys in motion, I think it's a little bit tougher because you're talking about running around. And that's the point he made was you got to remember these kids are running 10, 15 yards. And as soon as they turn around, this freaking missile's coming at them.
Yeah.
So it's the touch. That's why we worry about it. But then again, we did see some more of that intermediate throwing that we didn't see earlier in the season. So again, there is some of that chemistry that's coming around. And if they can keep that and keep developing that, that's why you're going to have the success in the running game. If you don't have that, they're just going to put 8 in the box and then Tennessee's screwed,
Yeah. Last thing on this one, Shane, Tennessee 12-game home winning streak, longest home winning streak since 2000. And that's going to be tested coming up here if they can make it to the Georgia game, but that'll be tough. But enough of that. We'll have time with that.
What are we wearing for that one, huh? What color jersey are we going to have for that one?
Again, I could go any direction here.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe the biggest surprise, not the outcome of the game, but just the fashion in which it was won, Shane. Kentucky, 33.
Ooh, buddy.
Florida, 14. Kentucky jumped out to a 24-0 lead. Just put that steam on them, Shane.
Yeah.
Ray Davis, 26 carries, 280 rushing yards, 4 total touchdowns. He has got to be Offensive Player of the Week for his incredible performance. How about this stat, Shane? Florida yards at halftime,
Yeah.
154. Ray Davis yards at halftime, 233. I mean, he was incredible. Florida missed 19 tackles.
Yeah.
Prior to that game against Kentucky, 27 missed tackles for the season.
Yeah.
So nearly doubled that. There was even one point, Shane, where Florida had 13 players on the goal line on defense.
I saw it.
Ray Davis still scored. And that was just so inexcusable, Shane, because it was after an injury, it was after a timeout, and I believe it was after commercial break.
Yeah.
So there's no way in hell old Billy Napier and his checklist can have 13 guys on the damn field after all that. I'm just disappointed that Florida, I mean, they just got
They shit the
egg
bed,
all
Mike.
over themselves.
They did.
It's Florida down, but it's also Kentucky up. They look like a true contender in the East.
Yeah. And well, kind of similar to South Carolina, too. It feels like Florida has got a handful of weapons, and if they don't produce, they don't do anything. Ricky can't do it all. He's a human highlight reel when he does get the ball, but ETN can't do it all. They're going to need someone else to emerge and take some of the pressure off. This defense, that you want to talk about who won? I obviously Ray Davis is the MVP here of. He just about almost won the Heisman yesterday, But I will say this: it was that defense as well. The freaking play calling, the relentless pressure on Mertz. It was well orchestrated, and they were just it almost felt like they had 13 guys on the field sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So, in fact, I paused it a few times to count. But Kentucky, this was a big step for them. We kept having a lot of question marks about that program. Like, are they legit? Had they just not played anybody? Florida was somebody. And Florida came to their house. This is a game that notoriously is close, was not close at all. Kentucky didn't even have to throw the football. It was just an absolute baptism of foot. And what my favorite part is the fans embracing the grocery store. Like I saw one on KSR is like no coupons, no, you ain't getting no discounts up here at Kroger Field. So them boys kicked the shit out of Florida.
Yeah, they really did, Shane. 329 rushing yards for Kentucky. Florida had only 96. And ETN had 29. I don't know what in the hell this is just like the Utah game where we're not getting ETN the ball. I don't know what in the hell's up with that. That's just awful.
And this team cannot play from behind.
No.
Florida is not built. They're built to get a lead or keep it close and sustain drives. But as soon as they have to put up points in a hurry, That's a recipe to beat the Florida Gators.
Now, one problem I got to pick something here, Shane.
Yeah.
we got to pick apart something.
Yeah.
Because we're on cloud nine if we're Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
We're thinking we're gonna beat Georgia's ass in Athens.
Yeah.
We're gonna mud stomp us Tennessee, Joe Milton. Get the hell out of here. And they may very well do that. But one thing holding them back, Shane. Devin Leary.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it. 9 of 20, 69 passing yards, 1 touchdown, missed another touchdown. He didn't have any interceptions. That was, and they didn't need him much,
Right.
but he just is not lived up to the hype. And going into Georgia, into Athens, I mean, it ain't gonna get any easier.
Yeah.
But I've said it, and I think I talk so much I don't remember when I said it or what I said, but I believe it was just on that earlier show. If he plays to his potential,
Yeah.
they'll beat Georgia.
Yeah.
In Athens. I truly believe that. But do I have confidence he'll do that? No, not really. I really don't, because this is 5 games now. When we see you for five games, you kind of are who you are. I would think. What's your thoughts on Devin Leary and surprised that he's not playing better?
Very surprised, especially when you have this type of rushing day. You would imagine that play action would be wide open because they were starting to sell out toward the run, and we just weren't able to get it. You got 3 of the best receivers in the country. There's no lack of talent floating around you. So, yeah, I'm discouraged, but a win's a win.
Yeah.
And like you said, they didn't really need him. And maybe that's a good thing, less film out there for the Georgia Bulldogs coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot play. Speaking of Bulldogs, and we're going to talk about them all week. You can't play Georgia like this, because if you do, you'll get destroyed. They will sell out to the run, and they will stop Ray, as good as he is. So Leary's going to have to take that step forward. But again, you're sitting there 5-0. I mean, there's a lot of happy Wildcat fans out there. But I do want to ask you on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like Billy got a hall pass after Tennessee game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he has.
Well, that's been revoked, son.
I'm telling you. Do you feel it though? Did you feel like a little heat coming from this one?
I'll answer that just real quick,
Yeah.
Shay. But we got OG Ollie on the.
Yeah.
He's watching. He said he got his tickets with his kids because he's there. He's going to be there when Kentucky beats Georgia for the first time. He wants his kids to be there in person. So I thought that was great.
That'd be good.
But yeah, no, hall pass. No, I mean, yeah, they were all about Billy Napier now.
Yeah,
That's out. I mean, Florida fans are, I don't want to call them fickle. That's probably not the right word, but they demand excellence, Shane.
Yeah.
This is the furthest thing from it.
Yeah.
This was piss poor. This was pitiful. What they showed against Tennessee, underdog, physically manhandling them on the line of scrimmage, that's what they want to see.
Yeah.
It was a complete 180 against Kentucky.
Right.
And it's the same thing I say about, I've said about Saban and why he's on the decline and all that. Kentucky's got good players. There are players I would say that Napier would trade for his own.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be the case at Florida.
Yeah.
And I don't care that he's only been there 2 years and Stoops been there 10 years. In NIL, in the portal era, you can flip these things quick.
Yeah.
You cannot be getting physically whipped by Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
You can get beat by Kentucky, but you can't, not 329 rushing yards to 96.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that shit when this is your DNA is pound the rock. He's 1-7, Shane, away from the swamp. Billy Napier is.
Right.
And that's going to haunt his ass because they got Georgia. They got pull up at LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna have many losses to come. If they play like they did on Saturday, I mean, I don't know. They make a bowl game.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to overreact, but I mean, I'm kind of out on them.
What's their schedule? Because it does not get easier.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right here. So here's Florida schedule. Vanderbilt, I mean, this must-win territory already.
Yeah.
Because they lost to and that's
Right.
at home. They
Yeah.
lost to them last year. Now, okay, we'll give them that one. Then we're at 4 wins.
Yeah.
At South Carolina,
Not,
tricky.
Yeah.
They hate you. Georgia,
Bro.
obviously in Jacksonville. Arkansas at home. That's a winnable game. You got to win it.
Yeah.
If you don't, bad news. At LSU, at Missouri, Florida State at home. I mean, there's not two games. Move Vanderbilt aside. There's not two games that I look at and say Florida's winning. Now, I'm not saying they'll lose them all, but there's not one on the schedule where I'm sitting here saying I'd pick the Gators.
I think that's the problem, though, is when you talk to maybe one that's not dialed in, probably not listening to that SEC podcast, just a claim to be a Gator fan, probably have a sticker on the back of their bumper. They're not worried about Kentucky. Right. They're not worried about Tennessee. They're not worried about Missouri. They're not worried about South Carolina. That's just in their DNA. Those are games they're expecting to win. Yeah. And then when you have losses like not just a loss, just a damn blowout, Mike. I mean, there's no way of sugarcoating this. It was all they could do to get some points on the board. That's when you start getting, again, those fired up fans and Florida Gators, damn, they can get fired up, Mike. Yeah. And you said 2 years in. I mean, if you put Deion Sanders down there in 2 years, you don't think he'd have a better roster? I'm not saying he's coming, but you mentioned last week or later last week, you were talking about Sam. Or maybe we were just talking.Maybe this was off air. I can't remember. Like I said, there's been so much stuff going on. But Arkansas being such a tough job to recruit a coach to, Is there a name? Let's just throwing this out there. If the Florida Gators had an opening right now, is it still a coveted position? Is there some of those elite coaches still looking at Florida Gators right now as a permanent home?
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Yeah. Great fans, facility, location, obviously the conference. Now, it's a damn murderer's row. Yeah. And all your chief rivals, LSU maybe not anymore, but Georgia and Florida State look like title contenders. Yeah. LSU may not be there. So there's challenges. I'm not saying it's easy, but we just can't be getting pounded like this.
I got you.
And this is 3 in a row Kentucky's beaten Florida. That's what really stings. Yeah. And that's not Billy Napier's fault. 2 of them are, but that's not all Billy Napier's fault. First time since 1951. Yeah, that Kentucky's beaten Florida 3 in a row. So think about that. They're saying in the comments, Florida's got a hell of a punter. Ooh, but that is not what you want to be
hearing. Bigger win
for
Kentucky or bigger loss for Florida?
Bigger win for Kentucky. Okay. And I'll tell you here, Shane, because we got a caller he's saying not only clearly, because we were asking this last week, is if Kentucky wins, are they the biggest threat in the East? He says that's not even debatable. They may be the best in the East.
Hey, this is Cousin Shane from Kentucky. Y'all say y'all don't know who Kentucky is. Well, you know now. We just handled that team that easily handled Tennessee. So we're second in the SEC East, easily. And I got to be honest, I like our chances against Georgia after today. Yeah, I've had a few bourbons. Love you guys, even though y'all some Tennessee homers. But Kentucky's legit. I think we proved it today. And looking forward to next week, and go Cats.
Cousin Shane's like to drink, apparently.
Them homers are everywhere, ain't they?
Now, on the flip side, Shane, we got Florida fans. Yeah. By God. They're out on old Billy. We got another call right here.
Hey, this is Rob Lawless. I'm a huge Florida fan. This shit's got to end. Billy Napier is... Now, granted, Mike and Cousin, I come from the Spurrier years, so you got to bear with me. Billy Napier is the biggest piece of, and you might want to exit this out, dog shit that I've seen as a Florida fan. I'm 55 years old. I said I came from the Spurrier years. Those were the golden years. Urban, after him. Billy Napier is the biggest piece of dog shit. 1 in 7 outside the swamp. 1 in 7 outside the swamp. Mike didn't. I thought you guys pumped up Billy a little bit this year. Sunbelt Billy. And from now on, I'm calling him Sunbelt Billy. I don't know. Do we hire Mark Stoops? I mean, Mark Stoops has kicked our tail. Mark Stoops knows how to kick our tail. Do we hire Mark Stoops? Can Florida get Mark Stoops? I thought Florida could get Lane Kiffin pretty easily. They didn't, obviously. They didn't. I think they should have. Can we get Mark Stoops?
Ooh, buddy.
Can they get Mark Stoops?
Well, I mean, that may be
That's
the question.
rumor
now.
that floats around every coaching hire.
Yep.
It used to be like, oh, we don't want Mark. Now it's like, well.
So, again, we're reactionary. We go over the board. If he beats Florida State, he beats Georgia, all this talk goes right out the window. We're back in. You know what I mean?
If I start eating healthy, I'd lose weight, I mean, come on. There's a lot of shit that could happen here. But the fact of the matter is, it's like year 2. He had a big win against the Tennessee Vols, which is like, I went on record thinking they're going to beat South Carolina or lose to South Carolina. So it's like,
right.
Is that your signature win? I get the frustration with Billy, especially when you grew up. Because I did. I feared Steve Spurrier.
Yeah.
I feared Urban Meyer. Those were coaches that were probably going to kick your ass, and they're used to that. And then to go around with the Muschamps and all these other jokers that have come down through to the floor. How
about this from Richard, though? He's really good. Kentucky is a better program today than Florida. Why would Stoops go to Florida? And I think that's probably a fair question, but
I think he just floated out there to get more money, but I don't think Stoops is going anywhere. And
right.
And like you said, why should he? He's flirting with potential another 10, 11 win season here. If he plays his cards right, who knows? I mean, I've never wondered about a Georgia Kentucky game like I am this week. And I'm not good at gambling, and I may or may not lock one of these teams down.
They're both begging you to block them. You know what I
mean? But it just feels like this is if this was the year that he was going to get one over in Georgia. And could you imagine? The last time we have East and West, Kentucky's the East winner. You know what I'm saying?
Never happened before.
No, shit.
Well, and speaking of that, let's go there next, Shane, because Georgia survives. So let's call it what it was. Yeah. The Plains, 27-20 over Auburn. And this was not a fluke, Shane.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody didn't miss or, just scan the highlights or what have you. Auburn was up 10-0 after the first quarter. Auburn was up 17-10 in the third. This game was tied with 3 minutes remaining. And hell, Shane, with 3:20 left of the third quarter, Auburn had 35 passing yards.
Yeah.
And they were still going toe-to-toe with the Georgia Bulldogs. Credit, this is something we were discussing with Kirby. Does he want a blowout? Does he want where they got to come back? Well, by God, they had to come back. And credit them because Carson Beck, the moment was not too big. So you learn something about your quarterback. But obviously, the only thing people are focusing on, for good reason, Brock Bowers should be getting some love for the Heisman. 8 catches, 157 yards, a touchdown, which was the game winner. How about this stat, Shane? Just in the fourth quarter, when they needed him the most, Brock Bowers, 4 catches, 121 yards, and that touchdown. That was the game winner. Just incredible. And this, I don't want to, this is kind of weird to say because this is the first time Georgia looked like a champion to me in the fourth quarter. But again, a champion would not struggle on the road to this degree. So they had to turn it on like they did against South Carolina a little bit later. Credit Auburn for punching above their weight. Credit those fans for making it an imposing atmosphere. What's your thoughts on Georgia barely winning 27-20 against Auburn?
Well, again, I'm gonna beat this drum until you guys all get to experience it. But Auburn has a legit defense. If they paired this with an elite offense, we'd be talking different story, different outcome in this game. Hell, Auburn would probably be undefeated. You never know. But this is a really, really good defense. And that's why I had a little reserve about this game, is because of the sluggish starts that the Georgia Bulldogs keep having. We keep making excuses and we keep celebrating their second half comebacks. But last 2 years we didn't have to worry about this. So this is new, but they're still finding ways to win, and they found ways to win. With Brock Bowers, it was almost at the time. I was like, not guarding Brock Bowers. That's a bold strategy. But then when you really watch the replays, they were all over him. Everybody's afraid to tackle him and arm tackling. I mean, the guy just took over. I've never seen. I mean, if you really watch his runs, he runs with vengeance. He runs angry. No wonder them little cornerbacks and DBs don't want to tackle him because they're going to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
This is what we needed to see, and we keep saying that. But this is again what's going to make this team better. And I'm not going to. I know I listened to you, Mike, pulling Georgia off the first ranking and stuff like that. I can't, because I think that this is a national championship contender, and it's games like this that are going to vault them over some of these tougher opponents like Kentucky, potentially Kentucky this week.
Right. It's just such an outlier, though, Shane, to Auburn rush for 234 yards to Georgia's 107.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Auburn nearly won this game, because they were dominating them in that aspect. And there was some confusion, some mix-up, apparently. CBS said Hugh Freeze was making he took back play calling.
Yeah.
But Freeze says he just was approving the play. His didn't call him. I mean, we're getting
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where we're at, but it's weird. Whatever he's doing worked.
Yeah.
Because they're still very, very limited at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They have virtually no threat of a passing attack, yet they're going toe-to-toe with Georgia. So
it's almost like Wildcat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's you talked about the rushing attack. Most of that was given up to Thorne and touchdown Robbie.
Right.
You remove their stats from here. It wasn't like a huge rushing a game, and so I'm not I don't know what the word I want to say here about. I'm not scared or worried about the future of the Georgia Bulldogs, because they're not going to face another team like this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, again, more film that they've got out there that they can, hey, if we do go get some mobile quarterback, this is how we can improve that. So, kudos for, again, Auburn. If you're an Auburn fan, by God, you got to be pumped up. I know there's no such thing as
moral victory.
A moral victory, but I would be happy. You just went toe to toe with number one Georgia. Imagine what this is going to look like 2-3 years from now, when you got a full roster of Freeze's commits.
Only thing I didn't like, Shane, after I think I already referenced this again. I apologize if I'm just sitting here repeating myself, but Auburn defensive coordinator Ron Roberts after the game on Twitter.
Don't go on Twitter.
He said, "I don't know what game y'all were watching. We were bracketing him, Brock Bowers, blah blah blah," and then he deleted it. So it's like maybe they took away it from Pew. He's not allowed to tweet. Maybe get Ron on that same plan. It's like there's no good in that. No good. And
stay off Twitter.
I got another one coming on that. Believe me. So, so Georgia survives, sets up a massive showdown. But speaking of surviving, Shane, we got to give this team their props. Neither one of us picked this game correctly. Which, if you
wait, I'm still trying to figure out which one you're talking about.
Ole Miss, Shane, keeps it alive, 55-49, beats LSU in just a wild back and forth game. Shane, LSU had a 9-point lead with 5 minutes in this ball game. Still found a way to lose, but this was. Let's focus on the positive at first, Shane. Jackson Dart, incredible. 26 of 39, 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Judkins finally got him. This was the missing piece. 177 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown. Trey Harris, get him back in the lineup. 8 catches, 153 yards, the game-winning touchdown. Flip it to the other side, Shane. Jaden Daniels, 414 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 99 rushing, a rushing touchdown. Logan Diggs, 101 rushing, 2 touchdowns. And then Brian Thomas, 8 catches, 124, 3 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, 8 catches, 102. What do they all have in common, Shane? They were going against shitty defenses. Oh my God, it was the worst defense I've seen, and in an SEC game, it was awful.
My
but
grandfather would have hated this game, you know. he liked them defense, them 6-3 scores. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like pack after dark, you know, but you know, it was great. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was probably one of the most exciting football games out there, and the videos that you saw after this was even better. Kids jumping off the goalpost and everything. But you know, I think, you know, especially with LSU defense, you know, we keep making excuses on why they won or why it was close and all this stuff. But man, they have got some serious issues back there in the secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter who's out there. They are just carving them. And so that's why I'm having to lower the bar with the LSU Tigers. But again, I wanted chaos in the West, and by God, we're getting it.
Damn, yeah, you are. Because Ole Miss, I mean, hell, now they're alive. I got to give it up. I don't even know if we can call him Lane Whiffen anymore because he got the big win.
Got a big
Coach of the week.
Yeah.
I think he earned it because, God, we were all throwing stones at him last week for good reason. I mean, you can't talk that much shit and have that big of an egg, but bounce back in a huge way. Shane, Ole Miss, they had 12 drives.
Yeah.
They got stopped 3 times. They scored 9 times. I mean, that's incredible. And hell, LSU wasn't much different. They got stopped 5 times, 7 scoring drives. So just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And
over 1,300 yards total between them. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh. It was again exciting. In fact, you know, I thought Ole Miss scored too soon.
Yeah.
I was yelling. We were watching this game. I was like, get down, because if you don't, I was afraid you're going to leave too much time on the clock because there was no way. I just bashed LSU's defense. Ole Miss defense, no better.
Right.
You know, it's like whoever had the ball last was going to win this ball game, it felt like. And
well, that's true, but it really came down to like they just ran out of time.
Yeah.
If there was 30 more seconds, LSU probably would have won this game.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but credit Ole Miss, credit the home team for getting it done. You know, that spread, that shocked both of us. But again, Vegas knows more than we do. And Ole Miss keeps their season alive. Do you think this eliminate? I've seen people, Shane, they're like, LSU's done now. They're eliminated.
Yeah. They
still get Bama. They still got A&M. I don't think LSU's eliminated from anything, even the playoff, which a 2-loss team has never made the playoff.
Right.
So I get it. But if you find a way, and it doesn't seem likely. I'm not saying this is likely, but if they can win at Bama, if they can beat A&M, if they can make it to the SEC championship and knock off an undefeated Georgia,
yeah,
how in the hell are you going to keep LSU out? So I don't think they're unlimited. As unlikely as that is, I think they're still.
But they have got to be really careful, Mike.
Yeah.
Because they are going against a sleepy...
and Mizzou. I just overlooked.
I was just about to say, I was like, you got Mizzou sitting out there, one of the few undefeated teams left in the SEC.
Right.
And again, you talk to any LSU fan, they are not worried about this game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly where Mizzou wants them.
Yeah.
Coming off this devastating loss, I think this is a perfect opportunity. It's an early game. You know, there's going to be a lot of that sluggish coming out, maybe a little hangover. And yeah, I mean, could you imagine losing 2 in a row? Then you're like, wait a minute, Brian Kelly, the guy, you know, I'm not saying that we should worry about that right now, but they have got to make some changes, brother, on that, especially the defensive side. They're it's terrible.
And hey, I know you won't even go here, Shane. So, but I'll say it.
Yeah.
Let's just say they beat Mizzou, which is not a given.
Yeah.
By any means. The rest of LSU's schedule: Auburn at home, Army at home, at Bama, tough. Florida at home, Georgia State at home, A&M at home.
Yeah.
If they can get past Mizzou, I'm just saying. I think they could. I think them on that table.
It goes back to the chaos. I don't think Alabama is done losing. You know,
right.
I don't think. Hell, I don't think LSU's done losing. I don't think A&M's done losing. I think Ole Miss is, maybe not done losing. There's going to be some more losses in the SEC, especially on that side. And it's just, who are you going to get? It's like any given Saturday now. And that's the chaos I'm talking about. We didn't expect LSU to sneak into the SEC championship last year, but they did because they caught fire at the right time. So which team is going to catch fire this year?
Do you have
took a step forward.
Any concerns? I was asked this earlier. I didn't really know how to answer it, but do you have any concerns about Brian Kelly and if he can get it done? Because that has always been kind of something that hung with him, where like he can't win the big game. And,
right.
Notre Dame always choked, but
Yeah.
they never had elite talent like he could possibly get at LSU.
I'm not, because again, the talent's not there yet. You know what I'm saying? It's getting closer. They've had some really good classes. They've had, I hate when you laugh.
They're saying, "That a boy, Shane, lock up the tide."
Yeah. I'm not giving up on him just yet, because again, this day and age, year 3 is when you start really looking at
right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And we're just not there yet. So I think LSU, natural. You want to expect them to win championships sooner than later, but it was a gutted program. So
right.
Yeah, I'm not being impatient.
Okay. Well, you know who else?
But fire the coach. No, just kidding. Now, if Dion wants to come around, no, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of being patient, Shane, we've patiently been asking people to sign up for mybookie.ag. Primary sponsor of the show. Head on over to mybookie.ag today. Sign up with a new account with promo code that SEC, THAT SEC. They're willing to match your initial deposit up to $1,000, and they'll give you an instant 50% bonus with that promo, that SEC. Shane, I know you can't get a lock to save your life. I've hit 4 out of 5 this year, brother. So fade Shane, go with me, but only on the locks.
1 and 9. 1 and 9, baby.
Over at mybookie.ag today. We really, really, really would appreciate it. We're also sponsored by Game Time Sidekick. Shane, I'm drinking out of a winning Game Time Sidekick this week. At Mizzou. Oh, there you go. Head on over to GameTimeSidekicks.com. Promo code SEC. 20% off your entire order today over at Game Time Sidekicks, officially licensed NCAA tumblers, cups, baby cups, sippy cups, dog bowls. They got you covered over at Game Time. And last but certainly not least, Shane, Rogue. Head on over to Rogue CBD.
I had a couple of them gummies before I
I think that was the problem right there. But this is veteran owned, and it's a hell of a product. They sent us over some, and that's really why we were late today. So head on over to the rogueshop.com.
I don't even have a job.
Rogueshop.com, promo code SEC, 25% off your entire order. That'll help the podcast, and free shipping on orders over $100 over at rogueshop.com. All right, Shane, next on the docket, again, like I said, there's just so many good games here. We got to give it up for the double cousin curse here. Because A&M looked the part, beating them Hogs 34-22. Everybody's out on Sam. They're out on him, but nobody's giving praise to Jimbo. First time, Shane, that Texas A&M is 2-0 in conference play under Jimbo Fisher, believe it or not. 400 or more yards. 5th straight game for Texas A&M's offense. Bobby Petrino lighting it up. No drop-off whatsoever, brother, with Max Johnson in the lineup. 17 of 28 for 210 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have a pick 6, but as many people in my comments, Shane, that was on a damn receiver. Didn't block, so we're not even putting that on Max. Dominated the line of scrimmage, 204 rushing yards. I'm giving Anais Smith, Shane, special teams player of the week. Punt return touchdown. I believe this was the game he got injured last year. What a bounce back performance to seal this game for them Aggies. And then I've said all that, Shane. Ain't even mentioned the defense. The defense was incredible. 15 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. They picked 6 KJ. Allowed only 10 first downs. Arkansas's offense did not score a touchdown until the final drive. This is the A&M we were hoping we'd see, particularly on defense. And I have to say it, Shane. They don't want to hear it because I picked against them, so I hate them for life now, even though we spent 6 months propping them up. A&M, to me, looks like the most complete team in the SEC West. And if they take care of business this upcoming week, I think they're winning the West. What say you?
Well, before we get going, did you know that Brad Johnson and Jason Witten were at the game? You want to make A&M fun to watch. Get rid of the damn parent cams right now. I mean, it is embarrassing. And every reference, it's like, how many times can we talk about it? But anyway, here I am talking about it. You feel like you're reliving the game, don't you, Razorback fans? But hey, as much as I want to pump up Max Johnson, I'm not, because this was about the defense.
Yeah.
Dude, this defense is alive, and it has been for a couple weeks now. But you remove two of Arkansas's biggest plays. Dude, KJ threw for 70 yards. They ran for total 100 yards of offense between them. So this defense was suffocating. They were all over them. There was interceptions referred. It's like any type of momentum that Arkansas picked up, Texas A&M took 10 steps forward with their defense. It was unrelentless. So it was just embarrassing for Razorback fans, because it felt like, again, we kept just doing the same thing over and over. KJ had no time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look for the light at the end of the tunnel with some of these fan bases, and it's like, I don't know. What is Arkansas? I know you're not out on them, and I'm trying not, man. I'm hanging on by a thread, by dear life. It's just what do we have to see? What do we have to see? 4th and 1, we're in shotgun with the biggest damn quarterback. The momentum was right there, and then just the swing of the game, they kept losing it.
Right, and that was the other one I was going to get to, Shane. I teased it, but apparently the offensive coordinator, that's not him drinking out of the dog bowl. That was my dog.
Oh,
but
he is everywhere today. Tired of this
apparently
shit.
Enos is fed up, and he's like writing.
Enos is fed up. Wait,
he's responding to emails from people that are saying, like, go under center,
really?
This and that.
He's not answering my tweets. I know he sees them.
But again, I mean, this is not what you want to see from your offensive coordinator after that performance that they just put up. But, I mean, and some people in the comments are saying, A&M, they ain't good. It's our shitty offensive line. But when it's back-to-back weeks, and all of a sudden, hey, maybe we're not giving Auburn enough credit. Maybe they are good. They just went toe-to-toe with Georgia.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody else doing that.
Right.
A&M dominated them, too, on the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
That's when you really know. I hate all this. You ain't played nobody. Let's get over that.
Yeah.
We've played multiple SEC games. When you're dominating on the line of scrimmage in the SEC, you are legit, and that's what we were thinking we were going to get from A&M, and that's what makes them a contender to win the West and possibly even the entire SEC.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
They've got, when you think about a championship team, they've got it. They got the pieces. They got the playmakers on the outside. The running game's starting to come in for him. Max Johnson is legit. I got a little worried when he got banged up, because I don't know what it looks like after him. But, that's my only concern, is just health. We had a few players get banged up during this game. But the defense, buddy, they're going to keep them in every single football game they played this year, and I'm not locking them down for any type of championships, but man, it's hard not to kind of fall in love with these Aggies right now,
Yeah.
They're hitting it in stride at the right time. Did Miami suck? Yes. But it's like, since then they've kind of just, hey, we figured this thing out. And like you said, maybe Auburn's better than we thought, especially on defense.
Right. I just incredibly impressed, Shane, when you lose your starting quarterback in the fashion they did.
Yeah.
And just have no drop off, be efficient as hell. And this is always just a weird game, Shane. That's why I went with Arkansas. I realize it, that Arkansas was the underdog, and we had Ty on here. He's on suicide watch entering that game. I could only imagine after.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, no, they didn't think they were going to win, but this is just a weird game, and weird things happen. And there was a pick six by Max Johnson, and then there was right after that a pick six by KJ. That was the weirdness.
Yeah,
but the weirdness did not affect A&M whatsoever. They just took care of business. And I would go so far, Shane. I think the most damning thing you can say about an SEC team, we can say in this one, I think A&M kind of made Arkansas quit at the end.
Yeah.
And that's pretty damning. That's bad of Sam Pittman, but it's also because A&M just wore them down, physically dominated, and kind of punked them. And if you can do that in this league, you got a hell of a team.
Well, I'm telling you what, it doesn't get easier. If you look at A&M's schedule, they still got some doozies coming.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bama's the biggest one. That's kind of been a thorn in their side. Do you got their schedule pulled up? Because right after that, I believe, is Tennessee.
Yep.
And then Ole Miss is somewhere in there. What's the next 4 games?
Yeah, hold on one second. You asked me the one I don't have prepared, but I got it right here. Yeah, so they got Alabama this week.
Yeah.
Then at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Then a bye. South Carolina at home. At Ole Miss, which they can't beat it. They never beaten Lane Kiffin. Mississippi State at home, which they have. Of course, that was under Leach, but they have trouble with Mississippi State. Yeah. Abilene, and then at LSU. So
do the first 4 if they play like they're playing right now.
4-0.
Really? Okay. You hear that?
But not a guarantee. I mean, it's Alabama at Tennessee, South Carolina.
Well, you hate Alabama.
But,
we ain't even got to.
Yeah.
You don't even want to talk about them.
Come on, 4-0. Come on.
We'll talk about them Tuesday, you know?
Well, we got a couple ones off this one, buddy.
Yeah.
This was a good one. First one, the double cousin curse is real.
Hey, Cousin Mike, Cousin Shane, Cousin Rob here. I'm an Arkansas fan, and first I have to say fuck you very much for picking Arkansas over A&M. The double cousin curse is real. And, Arkansas fans, we're not bad people. We don't deserve this. Nah, I'm just playing. It's not your guys' fault. My theory is that part of the deal that Jerry Jones and the Waltons made with that mysterious stranger at a crossroads at midnight during a full moon all those years ago, the deal that made them all their money was that their alma mater's football program would suck complete dick forever. It's the only explanation. Anyway, despite y'all cursing us, appreciate you guys and all you do. Keep up the great work on the pod.
And then we have one more. This guy was not even nearly as optimistic, Shane, but he's down on them Hogs.
Y'all, I'm a Hog fan, and I just got to say, we suck! And yes, I could have been a lot louder. Have a good one, y'all.
Oh, man.
There's Ty's roommate.
Yeah, Arkansas's down bad. They're in despair, Shane. And yes, as you noted, these are the clean versions. I mean, 80 voicemails. A lot of profanities I waded through this morning, but yeah, some good stuff there.
Mike, let's say I'm a Razorback fan. We're sitting here. Some devastating losses here last few weeks.
Yeah.
Talk me off the ledge. Where's the silver lining? How can we spin this and still salvage a good season here?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I thought we got KJ going last week. We got Rocket Sanders back in the lineup.
Yeah.
But again, what did we say last week? I mean, of course, it turned out to be wrong, but we said you're not going to get a tougher game, I don't think, than at LSU at night.
Yeah.
And they went toe-to-toe with them. Now, they got embarrassed by A&M.
Right.
But what are we sitting here saying about A&M? Could they win the West?
Right.
Could they make a playoff? You know what I mean? Like, they could be of that caliber. So, yes, I get it. You're demoralized. You're screaming at the top of your lungs, we suck. Fire Pittman. Enos doing these stupid emails. It's inexcusable. I get all that. But, again, let's look at their schedule. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying they're going to win all these games, but they got at Ole Miss. They have some voodoo on Ole Miss. let's just say they lose it though, because they're on a losing streak at Alabama. I mean, things will go off the rails.
Yeah.
But that's a hell of a stretch. A lot of people thought they'd lose those 4 anyway. Shouldn't have lost BYU. No excuse. But Mississippi State at home, they could beat them.
Yeah.
At Florida, after they play Georgia, you could beat them. Auburn, who knows if they even got a team left?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can beat them. Florida International, you could beat them. And then what if Missouri's got this like 10-1 record and you knock him off?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sitting here saying you're going to beat every team you play, but if they can go that final 5, we're talking 7-5, and I realize that's not the expectation you came into the season with, but why are we sitting here saying, well, God, we're the fucking worst. We went 7-5, blah, blah, blah.
If you beat BYU, you're 8-4.
Right.
You know, yeah, you're right.
So I'm saying now, if they lose by 50 to Alabama, if they lose by 30 to Ole Miss, we got some real problems.
Right.
Because we should not be getting embarrassed like that.
But they still could sneak up and get one of these teams.
Right.
You know, we're going to get, eventually, I promise we're going to get to Alabama whenever Mike wants to talk about them. But this is a team, like if this is the year, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're going to get the Tide,
Yeah.
you would think it'd be this season. And Sam's just not had that damn signature win in a while. And galvanize his fan base and let them know that, hey, things aren't that bad, you know?
Right. And I think it's the close losses. I think it's struggling on 4th and 3rd short.
Yeah.
And some, we can all question things when they don't work. But there's a lot of questioning going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit's not working. And that's fair. That's why these guys get paid. So guys like me and you and the rest of these fans, if they didn't care, they wouldn't be screaming.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be carrying on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you better hope they still care. Otherwise, apathy is the worst damn thing. You know what?
Speaking of, we're going to talk about Mississippi State now.
Alabama goes on the road, whoops Mississippi State 40-17. And you know my favorite thing about this game, Shane? It was
What's that?
nothing even between the lines. It was Papaw Saban getting fired up.
Miss Terry had enough, you know? Did you see it? He credited her. And I don't know if that's true or not, but this is the Saban we want. The rants on the sideline actually giving a shit. I think he may have been taking some medicine, you know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of mellowed him out.
Right.
And she just started hiding his pills. So that's the only thing I can guess has happened here, because there was some change. I know it was late. It was past his bedtime. He was already grumpy to begin with. But, you know, it felt like that was the emotion this team needed to get going, you know? This whole year, it's just been these sluggish starts and lackluster performances, and Nick Saban over there clapping and rooting them on, you know? But, man, now he's getting into their ass. That's what I like.
Yeah, and to me, Shane, this game, though, it was... Watching Alabama is kind of rough for me right now.
Yeah.
Because they're like a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
They got Jalen Milroe, who's an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
But he's not only is he leading him in passing, he's leading him in rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you're Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton, that's not a good sign to me. 10 of 12 passing. He barely had to pass the ball. 160 yards, no passing touchdowns, but 69 rushing and 2 scores on the ground. This game was won, Shane, because Mississippi State they scored with 6 minutes left in the first half. It was 17-10. It was a ball game.
Yeah.
But then Bama did what Bama does against Mississippi State, just demoralized them with that pounding rushing attack, went 12 plays, 75-yard touchdown drive, and then Will Rogers immediately throws a pick. And they scored with like 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
That should have been the final possession. Will throws a pick. They get it at the 30. They score again. It's 31-10, and that was all she wrote. Will Rogers threw 3 picks in here. You're not going to beat. Mississippi State had 3 turnovers. Alabama had 0.
Right.
Alabama didn't beat themselves, and that's why they won convincingly. But none of this is that impressive to me, Shane. And I guess I'm just a Bama hater. I get it. 3rd downs, Bama 5 of 12.
Yeah.
Mississippi State 5 of 13. I mean, it's virtually similar. Sacks, Alabama got 4 sacks. Mississippi State 4 sacks.
Yeah.
Tackles for loss, Alabama had 8. Mississippi State had 7. I mean, this this is just a team. One team made mistakes, one didn't, and one has better roster. So yeah, I get it. The final score is lopsided, but I think Mississippi State's awful. I really do.
Their defense, especially. That's the biggest surprise for me is how bad this defense is playing. I thought if I was to pick one side of the ball, and I know it's easy to pick on Will Rogers and his 3 interceptions and whatnot, but this defense also had opportunities to get them the ball in better position, but they just couldn't do it. And that's Zach Arnett's baby. That's what he's supposed to be able to do is make the best out of the worst, and just couldn't get that going. Will Rogers, I don't know. I feel like we're just trying to just jam this circle into the square peg. It's just not working.
Right.
It's not working. Arnett, it's not working. If you're watching this podcast, try something different. It's not. Your job's on the line. You are on the hottest of hot seats right now because no one likes you. All right. I hate to be the guy. I'm sure his parents like him. I'm sure his family likes him, but if you talk to Mississippi State, it's like, where's the future of this? Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? If you had the Pirate, he had a tough go out of the first season, but that's what he does. It builds it back up, and then there's something to look forward to. There's 10-win seasons in the future if you just keep this thing going. And now it's just like we're spinning our wheels, and I don't know what the offense is doing. I definitely don't know what the defense is doing. This was a team that you actually had an opportunity. Kudos to the players coming in there. I mean, they kept it close. There were some moments in this game, but they had to play a perfect game. They couldn't squander any opportunities, and they did. And when they did, Alabama won.
Yeah, and think of it this way, Shane. While he was under Mike Leach, Leach basically let him kind of recruit. He was kind of head coach of defense.
Yeah.
He got to recruit his own players. I mean, this is not like some massive turnover where he's like, I had to inherit all these guys. They don't fit with what he picked the defensive coordinator who's been there several years. I don't see athletes on this team from Mississippi State. I mean, they got a couple nice players, but on defense, severely lacking.
Yeah.
And that's what I was worried about because I didn't think they'd have anybody that can match Jalen Milroe, spy him. If he took off and run, it was just good luck trying to catch him. And that's what this was. So again, credit Alabama. This was bully ball that they wanted.
Yeah.
This is who they thought they'd be. But it's one thing to do against Mississippi State. I'll tell you this though. I'll tell you right now because we're going to be talking about this all week. If they do it to A&M, then I'm back. I'm back on the bandwagon because it's a different beast.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Mississippi State's got one guy on that defense that could play for A&M. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a completely different animal. But again, call me a hater, but this is nice win on any win on the road. That's what they say, which is it's true though. In the SEC is a good win, but this is not that impressive to me. Is it to you?
No, not for Alabama.
Why are you giving me shit on Alabama then?
I just wanted to say it. I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows you hate them. I will say this. I love the fiery sideline. There was just moments in this game that you just thought about the all-time. The defense. Kudos to Alabama. You want to talk about silver lining? That's a good defense. That's it's a stout program, and I'm looking forward to next week when they do play A&M.
Yeah,
because that is going to be damn fireworks over there. But like you said, Alabama, what they're doing now has worked until they face a team that can contain Jalen. And then what happens when you have to throw the football? When you have to stretch the field. He's had moments when he's been able to do it. He's very efficient during this game, but he's not
a single receiver had 2 catches.
Yeah, so what they're going to have to – there's somebody's going to have to emerge. So Alabama's got plenty of talent. They're just going to need some dudes to step up. Who's the next generation of all great wide receivers to come out of Alabama? We need it. We need something. We need another spark over there besides Jalen. It can't just be one guy.
Right. So last but not least, Shane.
Muzzy.
Missouri. Still undefeated, brother.
Undefeated.
38-21 over them Vanderbilt Commodores. And they really dominated this game. It was
Yeah.
24-7 heading into the fourth, and then they kind of traded scores there to make it a little bit more interesting. But Shane,
That's-
Brady Cook,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was done with the guy. All he is doing now is looks like the hottest quarterback in the SEC. 33 of 41, 398 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Luther Burton, my Lord, 11 catches, 140, 2 touchdowns. He's the best receiver.
Can you believe in
In the
3 games
country.
he's got 958 yards receiving? Nah, just kidding. It just feels like it.
Theo, and they fixed third down. Shane, 6 of 12. That's been something that's been plaguing
Week
them.
was good too.
Weiss, 10 catches, 118 and a touch. Brady Cook, all-time SEC record, most consecutive passes without an interception. He's at 350 something right now. The record is 326.
I thought he was going to throw a pick when they said that. If you remember, he got the record, and then there was a penalty, and I was like, "Damn it, he's going to throw an interception here." You just know-
Yep. Well, look where Brady's at now, Shane. 4th in the conference in yards, 2nd in completion percentage, 4th in yards per completion, 2nd in touchdowns, 1st in interceptions, 2nd in rating. I mean, let the man cook. This Eli's making us all look stupid on this one, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. But it was funny because Vanderbilt did make it a little interesting there for like a minute, just a brief minute. And I was
Right.
like, damn it, Mizzou, you do this every single week. You know, we just as soon as I'm about to turn off and watch another game, they let a score in. But kudos to them, man. Undefeated. Whoever thought? Whoever thought, besides this gal on that SEC podcast, they'd be undefeated at this moment going into an LSU matchup, which LSU screwed up. You know, should have been game of the week. But anyway, I'm pumped up for these guys. They're on cloud 9 and rightfully so. And what I love about it is the balance of this team. You know, I look at, you know, say what you want. Schrader's like and he like the leading rusher in the SEC.
He was, but not.
Okay, well, he's
I think it's Ray Davis now.
Well, yeah, 300 yards in one game will do that. But I mean, he's right there at it.
Yeah.
And then you got Cook, extremely balanced, able to run, able to throw. You got other targets starting to emerge. The defense is solid. I mean, did they make a couple of mistakes in this game? Yes, but not enough that they couldn't fix. You know, so
Right.
I just think this is a well-balanced team. And you were talking about A&M earlier, and I'm not comparing the two teams, but, you know, when you're talking about championship runs and having the opportunity to take it to that next level, you can't just be a one-trick pony. You've got to have all facets. You got to be going. So
Right.
I think that's what I like most about Mizzou. Even their special team. You know, Mevis has figured it out. You know, he's kicking 70-yard field goals like it's nothing. So I love it.
A sign of a mature team.
Yeah.
This was a trap game.
Oh, yeah.
But you didn't sense that at all from the Missouri Tigers. You know,
No, not at all.
and we even got their fan Shane calling in. It's like they don't even know what to do with their hands. They're 5-0. They don't even know how long it's been since they've been 5-0.
Here we are in 2023. I got nothing bad to say. My Mizzou Tigers, baby, 5-0 for the first time in long enough, buddy. Let's go. The rest of the SEC, I don't know. They just look beatable. Come on, LSU. Come on home and bring whatever you have because Mizzou Tigers, we're ready. We're 5-0. What is that weak-ass secondary? We'll take the top right off of that. Let's go. Go Tigers. Love the show.
5-0.
Weak ass secondary. Put it on a shirt.
All right, last thing, Shane, real quick again. All-time weekend here. Opening lines are out. Pretty interesting. And think about this, Shane. Well, I'll get to that when we're done. Western Michigan
Yeah.
at Mississippi State, opening line.
Oh, geez. Hell, I don't know. Mississippi State.
This is the one dud game.
Yeah. I'll give them 13.
22.
Okay.
They give some a little bit.
Can they score 22 points? Just kidding. Come on, Mississippi State. I mess with you.
Vandy at Florida. Must win for Billy Napier.
Ooh, Florida, 17.
Close, 19. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Always a wild game.
Ole Miss, 6.
11.
11. Ooh.
Alabama at A&M.
Pick 'em.
3.5. Bama.
Oh.
Bama always gets the love from Vegas.
Yeah.
Haters.
That one's going to change.
LSU at Mizzou.
Man, LSU 9.
7.
Hmm.
Kentucky
No respect.
at Georgia.
Kentucky at Georgia. I'll go Georgia 12.
15. Lock up them cats, brother.
It's a lot of points. It's a lot of points.
And then a little side one, Oklahoma, Texas, 4.5. I mean, God, so many good games. And this is what I was going to say, Shane. Right now, Kentucky and Georgia, they're tied for first.
Yeah.
They're playing each other. Alabama, A&M, tied for first in the West. They're playing each other. LSU, Mizzou, they're each number 3 in their respective divisions. So, I mean, this is separation Saturday. We're gonna have to go up with some new words, but this will be one hell of a Saturday. You know what?
Oh yeah, man. No, and I love it because again, you always look forward to the next Saturday, like after yours is done, and then you're like, damn, this is some good games. But I also like how it's broke up. You know, it's 2 and 2 and 2. There's no downtime. You're going to be able to watch 2 games the entire time, but not get drowned with it. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. We went a little long. We're a little late. Anything before we hop off the line?
A lot of people wonder when the Mayo's at, man. Well, the Mayo's going to be tomorrow. A little late tonight. Well, you guys know you're on 10.
We can't bullshit.
Yeah, can't bullshit. Shut the door, though. You're letting the light in, you know. But no, tomorrow we're going to do the Mayo, and look forward to that.
Yep.
Not really, but
I'm just glad it's not me, brother. I'm not going to lie. But thanks for.
I was always afraid, like, what if you drowned in the like? You know, have you ever done the cinnamon thing, or you seen people do the cinnamon, and they do the cinnamon challenge, so they do a spoonful of cinnamon. And
Aren't you allergic?
Well, I am. So that's why I've never done the challenge, but I wouldn't do it anyway because these guys they start inhaling it and stuff. I'm like, well, what if the mayonnaise? I mean, I've never
just breathe through your nose.
Yeah, what if it's like all mayo, you know? So we'll figure it out. We'll survive.
Yeah. On that note, let's get the
Shane
hell out of
acting
here.
like he doesn't know how to handle mayonnaise. Come on, get out of here.
I appreciate you, buddy. I appreciate all the cousins out there. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.